As you guys already know by now, Najee Harris, he signed a one-year deal with the Los Angeles Chargers for 9.25, or it's at least worth up to $9.25 million. And I am here today to talk to you guys about the fantasy implications of what could happen with Najee Harris, because he could be a massive sleeper who could end up as an RB1 for you and help you win a championship, guys. Let's think about Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman, right? They love running the football to really set up the passing game. They like to have that volume, and we all know Najee Harris is a volume running back, and they got rid of J.K. Dobbins. They got rid of Gus Edwards. They're no longer on the team. They need a number one running back, and that is where Najee Harris comes in, right? J.K. Dobbins did great. He just wasn't able to really stay healthy all season long. Just look what he did last season. He ended up with 195 carries for 905 yards and 9 touchdowns, which gave him a 4.6 yards per carry. Now, Najee Harris is the only running back to be able to play or at least appear in 62 games in the last 4 seasons. He is a healthy running back. He does not miss games, and that is what the Chargers need. They're going to give him a volume. They have a nice running style. They like to run the football, push the football, and Najee Harris could be an absolute stud for your fantasy team. I would say you need to definitely get him on the cheap before it goes a little bit too crazy with him in the 2026 season. So Najee Harris, he's ran for over 1,000 yards rushing in each of his 4 seasons he's played in the NFL. Just look at what he did last year with the Steelers. He ends up with 263 carries, 1,043 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That's a 4 yards per carry. So let's go ahead and compare the 2 running backs for last season. You got 195 carries, and you got 263 carries. Remind you, Najee Harris played in all of his games, and J.K. Dobbins only played in 13 games of the season. If you take those extra games that J.K. Dobbins should have played, the carries or the volume should be closer to similar, right? You still had 905 yards rushing for J.K. Dobbins, 1,043 yards for Najee Harris. You had 9 touchdowns with J.K. Dobbins, 6 touchdowns with Najee Harris, and here's the cream of the crop, the efficiency. This is what we want to see. 4 yards per carry for Najee Harris, 4.6 with J.K. Dobbins. Now, you give 4.6 yards per carry over to Najee Harris, and you end up with 1,210 yards rushing, which is crazy. Najee Harris is not a very efficient runner. What you see is the 4 yards per carry, but he's a volume runner. Now, if you can sprinkle in a little bit of efficiency for Najee Harris with a better offensive situation right now of running the football, y'all just know the Steelers are statistically one of the worst running football teams over the last 4 years, right? You put him now on the Chargers team, which is a better running situation. If his 4 yards per carry can get up to the 4.5, 4.6, like we saw from J.K. Dobbins, you could see a 1,300 rushing yard season, possibly even 10 touchdowns from Najee Harris. That could go absolutely bananas, right? So a change of scheme, right, should be able to help Najee Harris. The Steelers like to run on the outside, right? They're more of a zone run scheme, right? I think the Chargers, they like to run more. They're up the middle. They like to run between the tackles, and that can really boost Najee Harris value just out through the roof, right? So let's kind of look at how the Chargers really used their RB1 last season. J.K. Dobbins, like I said, he played in 13 games. And what was the snap share of those 13 games he played with? Well, he ended up in 64% of the snaps. So if your RB1's getting 64% of your snaps, that is going to be huge for Najee Harris. So let's see what happened. Gus Edwards, he ended up playing in 11 games. He was the RB2 for the team. What did he end up with? 35% of the snap share. So you may have an RB1, RB2. Both of these running backs were with Greg Roman when he played for the Baltimore Ravens, right? So he knows both of these running backs. He got both of these guys over in free agency, and he ended up having a lead ball carrier, 64% to 35%. That's a huge difference. So you give Najee Harris, there's nobody there to help take any kind of pressure off of Najee Harris running the football. You got a nice passing offense. You got Ladd McConkey over there starting to do some things. Mike Williams comes back over there to be another wide receiver for them. Justin Herbert, he's starting to come into his own as well. Now you have Najee Harris should be running the football like crazy in the backfield. You give him 60+% snap share, you should see, like I said, Najee Harris probably over 1,200 passing yards. So I mean, if you look, the ADP should be really higher this year. I mean, look at these things. Barkley, Robinson, Gibbs, Henry. These are all 4 running backs I would definitely take over Najee Harris right now. Okay, where could Najee Harris land? Let's keep going. Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, Christian McCaffrey, you got Cook and you got Alvin Kamara. All those guys I would take over Najee Harris as of right now. This now, at spot 11, this is where I would plug in Najee Harris. It's where I would probably want to take him. Let's look at some of the running backs that I would take Najee Harris over as of right now. Breece Hall, A-Chain, Irving, Chase Brown, Joe Mixon, Chuba Hubbard, Kenneth Walker, James Conner, David Montgomery, Isaiah Pacheco. You got Tracy, Pollard. All of these running backs I'd be willing to take right now, after I would take Najee Harris. That's how high I am on him this season. You guys need to jump on the situation, get ahead of the game and figure out, okay, this is the game plan that I want. Where do you pick in your drafts? And try to maybe see, you might be able to land Najee Harris at the back end of the 2nd round, early 3rd round. Now all of a sudden you got yourself an absolute stud, could even be RB1 for your team. If you end up going, wide receiver 1 in the 1st round, right? And then you come back in the 2nd round, grab Najee Harris, you got your RB1, which should be an absolute stud for you. Plus you have a stud wide receiver. That is the recipe for success, guys. If the efficiency starts to skyrocket for Najee Harris, you're going to see his value go absolutely through the roof. And these are some of the things you have to start honing in on. Free agency, look at the NFL draft to help you develop the best draft strategy. That way you can ultimately win some championships, guys. But that is the video that I want to talk about Najee Harris and the fantasy implications of going over to the Chargers, guys. Make sure you guys are smashing the like button, smash the subscribe button. It would really help out the channel a lot. We are pumping out so many videos right now, all throughout the offseason, to help best you prepare yourself for the regular season. And I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.